Hey everyone, we've got one of my favorite episodes of all time today. I got to catch up with the one and only Josie Maran of Josie Maran Cosmetics. We were able to talk about her days as one of the original influencers, a supermodel, how she built a $150 million brand that Jimmy Kimmel told her would be dead within 2 years, and then how her marketing strategies have changed from the days of QVC to the days of social media. Remember to be a friend and tell a friend and subscribe. Also, if you have any dream guests, send them our way and we'll do our best to get them on. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the show.
Influencers, inspiration, and Instagram. This is Earned by Tribe Dynamics. Here's Conor Begley.
Welcome to Earned, everyone. Today, we are going to learn from possibly our most talented guest yet, Josie Maran. Welcome to the show, Josie.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for having me. That is such a nice intro, and I hope I can level up. Also, my name, just so if you really want to be like in the Josie crew, my name is pronounced Josie Maran.
Maran.
Like
oh my
Karen.
God, that should
I
have
know.
come up. That should have come up in the research.
No, it's like nowhere. Even at my high school graduation, they were like Josie Maran, and I was like, no. But anyways, so Josie Maran. What's
Maran,
up?
okay, I've got it now. That's part of the. That was a bit in the show. We were just trying to get everybody to know how to pronounce your name. That was the idea.
Yep, that's it.
And, you know, in my pre-show research, I watched your interviews with Jimmy Fallon, Conan O'Brien. I feel like I'm right in line with that now. You know, I'm like, it's just the
Now you
next
are.
logical step in your career.
Are you sweating? Because Jimmy Kimmel, like every time, I've been on his show like 3 times, and he like was always like sweating bullets. And I literally would call him out in the show. I'd be like, why are you sweating? He's like, I have a crush on you. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so it's like, are you sweating over there, Conor?
Oh, I'm not sweating. Sorry.
Okay, sorry,
I
no
wish
crush.
I was. I feel like
Oh,
it's a
well.
compliment. Yeah. No, I still have a crush. Don't
No,
worry.
it's all good.
No, that's funny. Although in one of his interviews, I heard him say that he bet, you said you were going to create your own cosmetics line, and he bet that it wouldn't exist in 2 years. So you got that up on him.
Like that was like, what? Let's see, 3, 4. That was like 17 years ago, and so my line is 14 years old. So, boom, I'm gonna have to call him right after this.
There you go. Well, let's give, for the people that don't know you, let's give the kind of full background, right? So you started your career on the cover of Glamour magazine. You were then the face of Maybelline for 10 years. You were a Sports Illustrated model.
Yep.
Then you went to film and TV as an actress, Dancing with the Stars. And then obviously you have the line, right? Which 2007. So we're, I think you said 14
It's
years.
almost 14, yeah.
There you go. And $150 million in revenue, at least from what my
At
sources tell me,
least.
which
Yep.
is, yeah, which is, it's a penny or two.
Yeah.
And then you just launched in Ulta this year. And then in the data that we're tracking, I don't know if you've even seen these numbers yet, you're up 86% year over year in EMV for Q1. So that's a heck of a career you've got there so far.
Yay, thank you. Well, we're got a lot to go. I'm a big dreamer, so I want to be top #1 EMV, baby.
You're like, I just interviewed Mariana Hewitt, and you kind of remind me
Really?
of her in that, like, you guys have so many things going on. Like, it's like kind of crazy. I don't know. Like, I admire it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's super fun, but we'll get into why it's super fun. But yeah, it's great. If you enjoy it, like, why not go for it, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, that's, for me, work isn't, it's not work, right? Like, I enjoy what I do. And at that point, it's just you just keep pushing,
And
right?
then
It's
you get-
actually more about balancing out the other side.
Exactly. And also it's like, I feel like pushing should even have like a better word, because I feel like when you love what you do, you're just more creative, you're more innovative, you're more like into it, and ideas are just more abundant. So it's like you don't even have to push anymore. You're just like in the flow. And it's so fun.
I usually have to cut down. It's like too many things,
Me
right?
too.
You're like, what do you have to cut? What do you have to edit?
Discipline.
Well, I've actually learned, I was very anti-discipline,
Yeah, me too.
anti-organization growing my whole life, but I've like learned
Yep.
the value of it,
Yep.
certainly over time.
This is a good quote that I learned that changed my whole perspective of discipline, because I'm not into rules and I love breaking rules, but discipline is different. It's discipline comes from disciple. So it's the disciple of your dreams. So discipline is the disciple. It means like deciding, you're going to say, stay disciplined to these things, commit this much time, like build discipline around your dreams, and then you can actually make them happen because you're so focused and so clear and so, organized on that thing. So it's like discipline actually allows disciple of your dreams.
I love that. I am a huge kind of focus person. So I actually write down on a quarterly basis, I'll come up with 4 different things I want to focus on, and I write about them every day, right? Like, what am I doing towards these 4 things?
Me too.
It's super effective.
That's amazing. I do too. I'm the same. Exactly.
So I want to get into your background first, but there is something that seems really top of mind, right? So you guys changed your distribution strategy for the first time in a very long time. I think it's at 10 years.
Yep.
Moving into Ulta.
Yeah.
What motivated that? And then I think, now that you've done it, right? Obviously doing it during a pandemic, I don't think is like a typical time to do it. So like, how's it going? Like, is it going well? Is it hard? Like, what's been the experience so far?
Yeah, so I mean, the reason to do it was we needed to expand our wings, and to be honest, so we were just in Sephora, just at QVC, and our own .com, and just having pretty much Sephora and QVC it makes it really hard to grow awareness, eyeballs, love affairs beyond them, and it just became like very clear that we needed to grow distribution to grow community and grow people and fans and, argonauts, Argonauts. We have so many fun names for our Argon beauties.
Yes.
So
well, I like the argon nuts because it actually comes from a nut too, right?
Exactly.
So you got that like double. I like that. Yeah.
So it was a big deal. Honestly, Ulta was on my booty for a while, and I was like, just nope. And I was so comfortable with my QVC and Sephora business. I was like, it's already a lot to handle. And like I said, we have a pretty tight team. And so I was just kind of like comfortable and a bit lazy to have to grow and go on in like a whole nother adventure of another distribution channel. And QVC and Sephora are pretty intense. I love them, but
those are the big boys.
Intense. And I'm like, woo-hoo-hoo. I have 2 kids. I'm like, come on. So I finally actually made the decision like a year before the pandemic, just so everyone knows. It was not by choice that pandemic would happen exactly when we launched, but it ended up being totally cool. So the question is now, how's it going? So that's why.
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, how it's going? It's going great. We're totally building, as you can see in EMV and blah, blah, blah. Like, we're expanding. You can see there's new eyeballs on the brand. There's new love. And we're kind of just going slow and trying to get smart as we go. I've learned, slow and steady wins the race sometimes. And in this case, I think just like getting to know the Ulta model, getting to know how the inventory flows in and out before you go too big and you can, implode kind of thing. Because I just want to be huge there. I'm like, I'm going to be number 1 now. And everyone's like, let's just figure it out. Plus, so it's going really well. They love argan oil and they love body butter. They love a few of my other SKUs. So it's like they love my core stuff there.
Yep.
Ulta's like wonderful to work with. So that has been an amazing experience. What else about it? Just like I said, I'm probably going to grow my team, and there is a reimagining of the brand happening right now. We're 14.
Yeah, you're doing like a rebranding, right? Like next year? Is that the plan? Yeah.
Yeah. And so
what prompted that? That's the first time
years.
In X number of, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time to be doing the same thing. And when I started, so we can kind of go back, is like my whole thing was to help the beauty industry become healthier to the planet and to the people. Like, I didn't understand why there was just not good ingredients, healthy ingredients, things that were making people sick, like my grandmother, my mother. In the beauty world, I thought this was supposed to beautify, not hurtify. So like as a little
totally.
girl, I was just like, wait, why are people getting sick off their beauty products? So I've just been on this mission to be like, okay, and why can't it be when it's healthy? Because I grew up in Northern California, like around a lot of crunchy, hippie, natural people, and all the good healthy stuff was in the back of a health food store, and it was like dusty and muddy and brown and just not sexy at all. And so I wanted to I was like, why should we have to compromise like luxury and chic and sexiness and trendiness for health? Like, you shouldn't have to sacrifice your health for beauty. So what if we brought these two worlds together? And I call it chicological. So chic and good for you, good for the planet. Chicological. And it was really the first time, honestly, pretty sure that someone did it. So I did it, and we can go on that whole journey. But then after 14 years, it's being done. And honestly, like I told myself at the beginning, I said, I'm super competitive, but the whole point of doing this is that the beauty industry changes. Like, everybody jumps on the bandwagon and goes clean and green. We didn't have clean back then. That wasn't a word. But, healthy, non-toxic, good for you, and green, good for the planet. And everyone's done it. And I'm like, not everyone. It's happening. It's big. It's real. It's becoming normal. It's normalized. So yay. And so it's like, where is my next push? My next, creative, innovative, just moving the dial. Like, where does the beauty industry need to go next? I would like to, I have a gift of kind of like envisioning the future a little bit. And so I'm now reimagining what that looks like.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, you were way ahead of your time, both in terms of the kind of clean movement, right, quote unquote, however you want to kind of phrase that, as well as the, like, I feel like every celebrity now is launching their own skincare line.
Right.
And that doesn't seem like that was something that was really popular back when you did it. Or, did you get a lot of pushback when you decided to do it?
I mean, I funded it myself. So I had I modeled since I was 12 years old. So I had it, and I just been saving for this dream. And so the only pushback that I could get at that point was like, if I did go out and, look for a partner at the beginning, I did run out of money after like a year. And,
well, at least you had your other career going, right?
Yeah, I guess. And I just things happen amazingly in this business, like, that ended up being amazingly helpful. Like Margarita, the SVP, the old SVP at Sephora, she was VP of merchandising, SVP of merchandising. Margarita, she was like the queen of the beauty industry. She helped figure out a way to buy a whole bunch of argan oil and pay me up front and then kind of cover me. And then argan oil took off because she put it in the beauty to go section at that point. It was called Beauty to Go, not Beauty on the Fly. And just like, she sat with me, looked at my P&L, like went over, so like, let's figure this out. And she did that, and then it took off. So little beautiful, things like that happened that I didn't.
You can have small moments like that really have a dramatic impact. They don't always happen.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that was one of them. Was that at the same time that you were also running out of cash?
Yeah, that was the exact time. And I started going around and asking people. And so like, there wasn't a lot of modeling celebrities doing this. And so the thing about being a model is that you're assumed that you're dumb and, just a pretty face. And so like, I had to deal with my own insecurities about, that in these meetings and in the world. Like, I want to prove everyone I'm not just a pretty face. And so it just was kind of, honestly, it was a personal, like, I had to get over myself. Like, I had to feel confident enough, build confidence that I could not
Could
just
do
be
it.
seen like just a stupid model. But also the hardest thing that I got pushback for, it wasn't really being a model. That was my own personal journey. It was about trying to take out the toxic shit from our products, like from labs, from chemists.
Yeah, I would imagine if you're calling, because you're calling out other people, right? In some ways.
It wasn't other
by
brands.
saying that-
I like learned. I told myself early on I was not, especially being the face of Maybelline. I wasn't gonna make them look bad, but no, it was the chemists and packaging people telling me it was impossible. I was like, well, just take it out and let's see what happens.
Just give it a shot.
Yeah, please. Yeah. And they were like, parabens aren't bad for you. That's a whole blah blah. And I'm like, no. I don't really care. Let's just take it out, okay? Anyway, so that was my major pushback. It wasn't the whole celebrity model-y thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's talk about that part of your career, just to take a step back so people know kind of who you are. What motivated you to start doing it when you were so young? Yeah.
Okay, well, motivated me. So when I was 12, I was at a barbecue. And a family barbecue, and just a photographer was there, and I think she was photographing a Benetton fashion show in San Francisco, and she was like, will you do that? I did it. It was so fun. Benetton was like the coolest thing. I got to wear like a scarf on my head, and it's like super eclectic and cool and creative. So I was like, yeah. And there was an agent there that was just like, hey, would you like to model? So I became a model at 12 years old, and it was like San Francisco style modeling, where it's Levi's, Macy's, Mervyn's, The Gap.
Mervyn's. I haven't heard that name in a minute. Right? Poor Mervyn's.
Yeah, I know. Poor Mervyn. And then I did I did a Hershey chocolate commercial, and it was just I was cruising, and I did really well in that, and it was like really fun. I love food. And so I would measure my modeling hours by pizzas. So they would be like, Josie, can you stay for another hour? And I got $150 an hour, which for a 12-year-old is obviously a shit ton of money. But I was like, yes, that's 15 more pizzas, because pizzas were like $10 a pop. And I was like, all right, no problem. And like, I get 15 more pizzas. Like, I just built my career on pizzas. So I just started modeling. My mom would take me up to San Francisco every day from Bay Area and Menlo Park, Palo Alto area. And it was just this really fun thing. I really enjoyed meeting lots of different people. I got to sit in lots of makeup chairs and ask a lot of questions about what they were using on me. And that's where little curious Josie came into like, well, is it possible for you to make a healthy, any healthy makeup that's actually good enough for a makeup artist? And they were like, no, literally until I was like 25, they just kept saying how impossible it was to do. And even just going up a little bit, like when you were saying like any pushback, I would talk to other brands that I was friends with, the founders. Like I remember I was at a party at Mr. Chow's, like, because I was acting and stuff. So I got to go to these like fancy Oscar parties and stuff like that. And there was another makeup line founder there, and I was telling him my dream. Like I hadn't started the line yet, and I was like telling him what I was working on, and he was like, you'll never be able to do that. There's no way you could do that. And I was like, oh, you just...
Gotta love those conversations that you never forget,
I was like,
right?
You just... Yeah.
I've got a handful of those.
I like can see him, and I can feel me just like looking deep down his eyes and being like, I'm about to...
I certainly am now.
You got me. Now it's on, brother. So yeah. And then I graduated high school, went to college for like 2 weeks. Was like, I'm not gonna model anymore. They found me and worked my butt off. Like I lived in San Diego. I was supposed to be going to school, but I wasn't. And then drove back and forth to LA for like a year doing auditions and meetings, blah, blah, blah. And my career just took off, and then I moved to New York and became a supermodel.
Yeah. How did you, one of the things that was interesting for me, because and watching you throughout your career, I think you've been pretty even keeled the whole time, right? Like, you didn't seem to get sucked into it too badly.
Too badly. Just a little. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I don't know, like, right? Like, I'm guessing just from the outside,
Yeah.
but, did you get sucked in, or was it pretty easy to maintain, or
Yeah,
what,
I just have,
what helped you there?
what helped me? Or what did you say? What?
Yeah. Like, how did you,
I'm a,
not, get a
Yeah.
big head, basically?
Yeah, my mom very early on has always been like, you cannot get a big head. This is not, this is, what's important is like what's on the inside. And she would, like, there was just no support about anything fake, anything materialistic, anything about that. So I think that just my family building value around me and what I'm about, and my light and my personality, and just like my love of life, just really cheering that on. And I don't know, my mom really made it a big deal to be authentic and to be me and to tell the truth and to speak my truth and just have fun. So she like literally would point out people that were fake and be like, do you see how awful that is? And I was like, ooh, yeah. So I think I just had like it drilled into me, like, just be you, girl. That's the best. And, just do that. So I even probably a little bit too spunky sometimes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I think I just had a lot of confidence in terms of just being myself. So I just never tried not to. And I'm just very interested and curious and so excited and honored and grateful to be able to travel all the time as a model and just explore the world and meet so many interesting people. And I was just like, people love to have me on their shoots because I was so excited to be there.
Yeah. I mean, but that, like, not everybody has that, right? You would assume that everybody would be excited to do that, but it's just not. I think that kind of energy can be infectious, right?
Yeah. It was cool. It was good. And just a little side story on getting the Maybelline job.
Yeah.
So when I was 12, I think I started this even before I started modeling. I watched a Maybelline commercial, and it was Christy Turlington walking down the street in New York City, and she was like, in New York with this like cute dress, and it just was like, maybe it's Maybelline, and she like just turned around and looked at the camera, and I had no idea about modeling, I had no idea about makeup, I had no idea about fashion, I had no idea about being cool, but I just, since that moment, wanted to have that experience of walking down the street in New York and be like, woohoo, and do that twirl, and maybe it's Maybelline. So every night I went to bed and I crossed my fingers and I prayed to be the Maybelline girl.
Wow.
And when I turned 18, I was living in San Diego, driving every day, San Diego to LA, which is at least 2 or 3 hours back and forth. And my agent called me and was like, there's an audition for a Maybelline campaign. And I was like, are you kidding me?
My time has come.
I was like, oh my God.
Don't screw it up.
It was just like, wow. I just remember I was just like, but it was just all like, okay, here it is. And next thing you know, they hired me. Of course, they don't give you a 10-year contract at that point. Hired me. I did a job for them. They hired me again, did another job. Next thing I know, they're calling. They're like, we want to do a contract with you for a year. And then I was like, are you kidding? Do you guys realize what just happened? I just made this happen. Like, I manifested this. So after that experience, I, as a little girl, realized, as I was 18 at that point, but from 12 to 18, I had my thoughts, my thoughts created literally my dreams. And like, I became a very powerful person. I was like, whoa, I can do anything. Yeah. I just have to put some energy into it. And so that was just such a game-changing moment for me and my superpowers. And so I just love to tell people that story because it really is, you are powerful if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, the phrase I always liked that kind of gave the same feeling to me. It was it's a Steve Jobs quote. And I'm trying to remember the first half of the quote, but essentially it goes, the day that people look around and realize that everything around you, right, this iPhone, the laptop, the house, was all built by people no smarter than you, right?
Exactly.
Is the day that you realize, like, oh shit, like if I want to do this, I can, right? I just have to do it. Obviously, yeah. So that's super cool.
Yes, if it's to be, it's up to me. Yep. So, anyways, yeah. So that's just a cool little powerful story. Just it's so amazing. I remember I used to meet with like Maybelline fans that they would bring in to meet me, and I would tell them that story because I was just like, "Come on, everybody, come on, girls, let's like all do this."
Yeah. Well, so then you started the brand, right?
Yeah.
And I think it seems like the brand of anything has almost been like the largest kind of portion of your career at this point.
Yeah.
And probably moving forward, right? You're going to, you're not moving away from it anytime soon, I would imagine.
Nope.
When you started it, was that the intention, or was it more, did you expect to do it for a few years and then move on? Like, what was the intention going into it?
Intention was to change the world with lipstick.
All right, I love it.
It was like whatever it takes to do that. And I remember I had my first, meeting with Sephora. I literally had my baby. She was brand new born. I was like breastfeeding her in the meeting, and my mom to help me figure out how if baby started crying, I need to like do this huge presentation to Sephora. They were like, we have like some other celebrity makeup lines that, they're kind of like not really into it. Like they're in, they're out,
Yep.
But we don't really.
Well, they're doing it for the money, right?
Yeah.
Usually is what's happening.
Exactly.
They're not doing it because they actually care.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm here to change the world with lipstick. And I remember I was in their very tall San Francisco building looking out and just like, and I, just Sephora being in San Francisco is like my home place. So I just always feel like we're doing this together. It's just like this thing. We're like real partners on changing the world. But anyways, I told him I'm changing the world with lipstick. Like, no, it's not about my name, celebrity, anything. This is like me. I need to like do this. And they were like, cool, all right. And they were just like super into it. They're always ahead of the game. So anyways, yeah, so that was my goal. And I haven't changed the world yet. But
I mean, contributing a piece to it, right?
Totally. And so we're on our way, we're making a difference, definitely. I just have a lot more I want to do. So there was no real time. I mean, I've had moments where I was like, okay, I'm ready to like sell, but then I always come back. My team will be like, you really are pulling out of this idea? Okay, I'm like, sorry, I'm not ready. And then right now with the reimagining process, I'm so in love with this potential and what we're gonna do that I'm like, do I have to sell one day? They're like, no, you don't have to sell, but what you do want to have is choices. So, that's my new goal, is to just have choices, to create something so amazing that I can decide what I want it.
So let's talk QVC. So, so you, obviously Sephora was near and dear to your heart, but, at least from what I read, QVC is like 2/3 of your revenue, or was at least in the past. Tell me about that part of the journey. When did you start working with them? What's it been like? Would love to hear about it.
Okay, so, I've been on there for about 11 or 12 years. They found me I did an exclusive with Vogue to launch the brand, and they found it. They came and met with me, and it's actually funny, when I first launched on QVC, it was like on Earth Day, I'm like all like, yes, changing the world, or Earth Day. 12 years ago on QVC, they had an Earth Day program, but it was like not successful. Nobody cared. And I like was just kind of like this, but like more natural, and it didn't work out. I sold like this lip palette, totally bummed. No. So I got scared and went home, and I was like, oof, never mind on that idea. Not, on that QVC thing. But then argan oil at Sephora took off, and we like started learning a lot about like argan oil was this amazing thing. I mean, we know it was an amazing thing, but like in the world, it's like created an oil category. You know, I call it the Revolution. Like it was like this huge, big deal. Like that, I was like, wait a minute, let me tell the story of argan oil on QVC. That is the power here. That's my like special sauce. That's obviously what was meant to be with them. So I went on and, you know, I take people through the journey of like how I found it, how I discovered it, how the Moroccan, how they make it, how these beautiful Moroccan women make it, how powerful it is, and kind of how at that point a big disruption it was just to put an oil on your face. Like everyone was like so scared of putting an oil on your face.
Yeah, there's a lot of negativity attached to oils at one point.
Yeah.
Like I definitely remember growing up being like, oh, that's the bad stuff, right? Like
yeah. So like I think that's honestly part of what made it so powerful and special and contagious in a way, because so what happened was one person would try it and I would tell them like, I know it sounds scary, but trust me, putting one pure, high quality, amazing ingredient onto your skin is going to change your life. It changed my life. Let me see if it can change yours. And then people would like be like, oh God, ah. And they would be like, oh my God, thank you. Jeez, that's good. You know, like, whoa, it's like literally when you're dry or you're oily and you put this on, you're like, oh my God. If something happens, I think it takes you to another place. Like I can't measure the magic, but I'm pretty sure there is. And so what was cool about it is that you got this woman, she would get the courage to put it on her face, and she was so proud of herself and had this like amazing magical moment that she had to tell everybody about it. So everyone just like was telling, like, cause you felt so like empowered. You're like, I did it and it changed my life. Like, you got to do this. And you're like, if you're smart and you're courageous, you'll do it too. Like, and so everyone was like kind of in this challenge to like put an oil on their face. And so it just went crazy and spread so fast. And so I went on back on QVC and it sold out the first time I was on. And here we go. We have like this amazing argan oil business at QVC. So yeah, QVC has been amazing. In your world, like I kind of was like a original influencer. I think, like, people tell me this. I'm still having a hard time understanding this, but like, you know, I was sort of, I guess, known, but it doesn't even matter. Like I was like now this like educator and like lover of argan oil and wanting to make the industry healthy. And I just got to use my voice. I got to use the QVC amazing platform to just like spread the love and share the love and tell everyone how I can help them with this like organic, simple ingredient. And we just fell in love with each other. And then like now we have this amazing, like I have amazing argonauts or argan beauties. Like we're just a community there that just plays with each other, and they call in, you know, and I talk to them and we're just like hanging out. And my whole thing is like, I want people, empower people like to feel good in their skin and take care of themselves and just like have an amazing life. So it's been this like just back and forth love affair of my community there, and just learning from them like what they want. And I design, a lot of my products come from their asks.
I mean, I think there's a few things in there that are really interesting, right? So one, you know, when you talk about that time, it's kind of weird to think back on that. Like I just forgot that like oil was like not viewed positively at one point. And so having somebody like on screen that's like, it's okay, I promise it's going to be great. And then they do it. And then like that, you earn so much trust that way. Especially when it's something that you came up with and that you believe in and that's like real, right? That actually works. And so I think that's part of the reason that, you know, influencers do well today too, right? They put their own reputation on the line saying like, this is good and I really believe in it. And if you create those moments of trust with the, you know, your community, you know, that's a story that spreads really quickly over time. So it's just really cool to hear.
Natural. Yeah, it was, you know, just kind of, it was the beginnings of this whole world where people are probably like, okay, this is the equation to becoming an influencer or a successful influencer. I just love how it like happened. And QVC is like the original, what is it? The original sort of social media, because you're like getting to actually talk with your people, you know, your community. Like we were on the phone talking, and it was like next level connection before there was social media.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, you know, if you talk to Tiffany at Drunk Elephant or Vicky at Tatcha, right, they're doing the same thing, but through social. They would spend 2 to 4 hours a day, every day on Instagram, on Snapchat, communicating with their fans. And that's just such a special connection.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things that makes the internet really special, that you can do that,
Yeah.
so, you know, do what you were doing essentially, right?
Yeah. And so while I was doing it on QVC, I was not paying attention to social.
Yeah,
I
well,
was
tell
like,
me about
nah,
that journey. So
I
how's
got
it
this.
changed, right? Like,
Yeah.
when did you realize, like, I got to do social media too? Like, what was
Like
that journey
literally yesterday.
Well, it started showing up, you know, before that. So
You must go. But yeah, I really was late to the game. But now.
well, when you
I'm
have
like,
a good thing going, right? Like, because you have,
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, you know, QVC, you go on there, you have people calling, you probably talked to multiple times before, like, you've got a whole vibe going, like.
Yeah, it was a whole vibe. And plus, I'm the CEO. I'm the product of it. Like, I'm very busy person, and QVC is a huge business. It's a huge machine. So, like,
Yep.
lots of new products, lots of stuff, you know. So anyway, so like it was just not just that I was like, hey everybody, and like, and this is cool, but it was like I was busy. So and I was having babies. So anyways,
Are babies a lot of work?
not really. You guys just sit over there for a while. So I just then I was like, oh my, it catches up to you where you're like, oh shit. There's other games going on that I gotta like figure out. So that was just a few years ago, honestly. Like we finally got a social media team a few years ago, like maybe a year and a half ago.
How's it gone so far?
It's really fun. I mean, I get to I'm learning. I'm just learning about it so much right now. I have some good mentors that are teaching me too, but to be able to leverage, well, first of all, to have a platform to again spread the love and like have this, you know, community that we can play with is just what I love anyway. So how do we take that, what we've been doing and what I love to do, and bring it into this new medium is something we're learning about. And I think what's been like this whole, we talked about, you know, it's been 14 years, I'm reimagining. I never really created it's always been just like me going like, okay, gut level, do this. Like we never really like put what the brand DNA is on paper, because we had me and we're just like, we'll figure it out as we go. But because we haven't done that and like created like real brand codes that go with that, there's just and been so dependent on me just on TV, like, you know, talking and loving up my inventions and being able to sell a lot of it that way. I haven't ever had to like figure out how to put it into like 3D.
Yeah.
You know, and brand it and figure out how to grow it, and even like get influencers and other people to like know exactly who I am and actually how to, you know, go out with that. So right now we're in that learning and building out of like, what is the codes of this brand? You know, what's the DNA? And then like going there. So I think the social will be a completely different game. We'll have a much more engaged community because we'll really have a very clear point of view and, you know, structure around how to bring that out.
Yeah.
Does
I mean, the thing
sense?
is, you've been
You know what I'm talking
living,
about?
right? Totally. But I mean, the nice part
Yeah.
is, right, you've been living the kind of brand ethos for however long, right?
Yeah.
14 years. And so, you know, you are the sum of your collective actions, right? Like all of those actions together is what made the brand
Yeah.
it is today. And so you just have to codify it now, right? It's just about getting it
Yeah.
down on paper. Has that been challenging? Has it been hard to do that? Or, you know, does it feel pretty easy?
I have a secret support system happening, and when you get the masters, it's been the most fulfilling, wonderful, easy experience. So
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it.
yeah,
Okay.
so I mean, we'll see how it goes, but we're just in the making of it, you know.
No, it's gonna be great. That's gonna be
Cool.
great.
Thanks.
Okay, I got one more question. I've got one more question, and then
am I allowed to surprise you with a few questions or no?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, you are
Awesome.
the first one that's flipped it, so I like that. Let me do you want to do your
Cool.
questions first or mine?
No,
What do you think?
You can do yours first.
Okay. Talk to me about kind of the last year and then what you think is going to happen moving forward, right? So we've kind of seen this thing almost beginning to end. And I think skincare did pretty well during COVID, right? Versus, say, makeup. But, what was that like? How did you guys have to pivot during that time? And then what do you think it's going to be like moving forward for you guys as a brand? Like, how is your approach going to be different today than it was in January of 2020?
Right. So first of all, I heard today we had a little influencer planning meeting, social meeting, and they were just telling me that our trend is up above skincare's trend up, but maybe it's because it's only up from here. I don't know if you can see that, but anyways,
Well, I know your numbers are up. Our numbers are up on what we're tracking on you guys, so.
cool. Yeah. So anyway, 2020, we just really like put a shoulder into just being like super into the community and like just trying to spread love and give love and do whatever. Honestly, like I want to change the world. This was like, my products happen to be like healing, healthy, bring so much like goodness and joy to people. So let's just like get it out there and help the frontliners. So we just really went towards that, and it was like just because that's like what I love to do, is just help as much as I can. And my husband is a big like nonprofit guy, changing the world in his own way. So he was like, let's create a relief at Josie Maran thing where people can just write in, or if they know people on the front lines, they can have, send us their address and we can send them. So we sent tons of body butter out to hospitals and people and frontline workers, and it was just so wonderful to be able to do. So we just kind of we really just leaned into our community giving, and that's, like I said, doing good is like all I want to do. So that was really exciting, and it was good for us. Like, it just helped build our community. The love was so strong, the trust was so strong, and then there was BLM, and there was, what else did we then of course there's last year's Earth Day, which was like Earth Day on a in the middle of a pandemic, and then this year's Earth Day. Like, we're just kind of leaning into like the things we care about and the things we want to impact, and so that's what I would say. And then we're right now, what will be different, I think eventually soon, hopefully, will be just that we're much clearer about our values and our vision, and then we'll be engaging and building community around that more, and maybe even creating cool services for people to really play with us around.
I dig it. No,
Sorry,
I think leaning
I know I'm
in.
not like talking social media talk very well.
You don't need to talk social media.
If you have
talk
specific questions, I'm sorry.
No. This is the point of this show, is to talk to really interesting people that know the space and that we can learn from, right? Like, that's the goal. And cool. I think, the thing that you talk about in terms of leaning into your values, like, the hard times are when you do that, right? Like, that's when those things show out and when they're most valuable. And so it's nice to hear that it's not just a mission statement, right? In some ways, I think you guys are better off, because you didn't start with a mission statement that you then had to live up to, right? You like built out a brand, and you're like, okay, what is this brand? If I were to condense this into a mission statement and a set of values, what would it be? So in a lot of ways, it's actually easier, right? It's probably why you're not having a hard time with it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I've got some fun end of show questions, but it sounds like you might have some first, you were not polite enough to send in advance, so I hope I don't get put on the spot.
Just a little surprise. No, I don't know how. Okay, these are like your specialty things that I don't know. Let's see. So
Okay.
what makes a winning campaign on Instagram?
Oh God.
I mean, this is fun. You get to just like kind of maybe drill down into it.
Yeah. I dig it.
I'm gonna take some notes. Excuse me.
You know, honestly, I think campaign is actually just kind of the wrong thing to focus on, right?
I like that.
So for me, the kind of evergreen relationship building and community building that you're talking about, I think is just so much more important. And I think that people severely under-resource it, right? Because campaigns are nice, they're time-bound, you have X amount of budget, you spend it, it goes well, it doesn't, you do it again. But I just don't think that that's ultimately what drives success in the long run, right? I think what drives success in the long run is what you're talking about, which is like building one-to-one relationships at scale, like over and over and over again. If you look at NYX Cosmetics, I remember when they got acquired, right? So this was really early in the kind of influencer social media game. They got acquired for $500 million. And, you know, L'Oreal thought they were acquiring this like digitally native, you know, ads, scaled, whatever. And when they acquired it, they said what they actually acquired was the most human brand they had ever acquired. And the reason for that, right, was the team had used the internet to forge these one-to-one relationships that you never could have done before, right? Like you could talk to a certain number of people on QVC, but like compared to what you can, compared to what you can do on the internet, right? You can do that at 1,000x, 10,000x scale, and you're not disintermediated by the retailers or by anybody else.
Right.
And so I think that's actually like what really builds a brand over time. Of course, it's not that you shouldn't run campaigns. Of course, you have product releases and you should make them fun and exciting, and you got the whole blockbuster moment thing going on. But it's just not really what I focus on. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you. It's very game changing. What advice do you have for OG, I was going to say brands, but original gangsta brands to win on social? Any advice?
Gotcha. So are you an OG brand?
Yes.
Okay, so what is my advice for you then?
Yeah. Okay. All right. OG/me.
I think it just kind of builds on that first point, right? Which
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
what most people assume. So what most legacy brands assume is that, my target market isn't on social media, right? Or I'm not, social media isn't my thing. And I think that's changed over time. I think this was a bigger issue when we first started. But one of the things that they misunderstand is just how big their existing community is online typically. Like, you look at a brand like and I'm not trying to call them out, but say like an Estee Lauder, right? I'm just using that because it's such a, iconic brand.
Yeah, legacy.
They have
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of influencers and individuals and creators that are talking about them every day because they love the products, they love the brand, and there's going to be people that are young, people that are old. It's like the whole mix of people on there. And so, for them, it's not about going out and doing social media as much as it is like there's a group of people that love the shit out of you and are talking about you all the time. And right now they're being totally ignored, right? Right now they're out there showing their love and you're not showing any love back. And I think that's just such a big missed opportunity, right? So for me, that's what I think about. It's not about like, you don't have to suddenly become a digital first brand to do this. Just like, show love to the people that are showing you love. Like that's what you should be doing.
That's awesome. I love how just simple that is, just to make sense. That's how you are, it is in life. Like, just kind of use these.
Right? And then what happens, right? So say that I'm like, like my wife's friend is a school teacher who has like 80,000 fans on Instagram, and she does like outfits of the day and whatever. And
Really?
She goes out. Yeah, she's great.
I guess
Tori's
your wife
treasure.
should have
You
a
check her
big
out.
following. Yes.
Yeah. So she's great, and she actually just left. It's kind of sad to lose a school teacher, but just left to do it full time. And when she goes out and she talks about a brand, like she goes out and talks about Free People, and like she doesn't hear anything from them, it's a really big missed opportunity. But alternatively, if Free People reaches out and says, "Hey, thanks so much for talking about us. We really appreciate it. We love you so much. Let us know if there's anything else you'd like to try, or like, I'd love to get coffee or do yoga the next time I'm in LA and you're around." Like, what is she gonna do in the future, right? She's gonna go, "Oh wow, that was really special. Like, I'll make sure to check out the next Free People collection." And her friends are going to be like, "Oh, what brands have you worked with recently, and I talked about free people, and they sent me a bunch of free stuff, and I got to know them, and we did yoga, and they're great, and blah blah blah.
Yep.
Right, like that's how things spread.
Yep.
And so that's what I talk about when I talk about legacy brands or OG brands.
Cool. That's awesome. One more question.
All right. I love it. That's great.
Okay, good. Thank you. What's your opinion on how to win on TikTok?
Oh God. So TikTok is my vice. I am on TikTok way more than I should be. I justify it as being market research. I'm just researching. Yeah. I'm just, this is work. I don't have a strategy there yet. I don't have a suggestion. I think it's so hard. This is what I'll say. Actually, I have a suggestion. So I think it goes back to, again, I'm going to kind of beat a dead horse here, but like CeraVe, for example, right, which I hope I'm not butchering that like I butchered your last name, but CeraVe, right, went out there and they're like gangbusters on TikTok, right, doing super, super well. Tons of people creating content about them, the brand's through the roof from a revenue perspective, all these kinds of things. And they like didn't even have a brand TikTok, right? Like they didn't even have an account. Like they'd never published a post. And it's like, well, why is that happening? And so like, well, because they built these relationships with these professionals, whether it was a dermatologist who was a professional or somebody that was just a skincare junkie. And like those people told their story. And that's what they really leaned in on, right? And I think it's so hard, like as a brand, it's so fundamentally hard to create content about yourself that is interesting. Like it's just not easy to do. Versus to have somebody else validate you and talk about their love and like do it in some creative way. It's like lean on those people, right? Because you're, as a brand, like when you try to create something funny, like you're always fighting with one hand tied behind your back, right? Because everybody knows that you've got an agenda. Yeah. And so that's my perspective when it comes to TikTok. Not that I'm all for people getting creative and doing their own stuff, and you should do it. But I think that if you're trying to move market share, that's how you do it.
Interesting. That makes total sense. And now you can almost see like my slowness to expand distribution. It's like almost in my like slowness. It's like my personal, anyways, sorry to take this so far.
No, keep going. Like, I want to hear it.
I have a very few friends. I have like one really good friend at a time. You know what I mean? Like I can't, like maybe two. I'm just like I like to, be close to people and be deep and like connect. So having a lot of people, it's hard for me. So I think that literally is playing out in terms of like where I need to expand that like in my brand, because I was just kind of like not comfortable, or like I didn't even understand the power of like making lots of friends. And and the influencers are more like friends and just people that can like spread the love with you, you know what I mean? And anyway, so just like expanding my horizons here, and really, but seeing it like that, like I don't have to do all the work. Like I started this whole interview out with like, it's all me. That's like such a bad mentality as if you want to grow, it's like what are the ways to like leverage other people and like have it be like a shared wonderful love affair. Anyways,
I love it. I got you thinking. You need to do a podcast like Conan, right? He's got the Conan Needs a Friend podcast where he just brings on people. It's a mix of like his friends and then all these people that he like, we should have been friends. Why aren't we friends? And then like...
That's so good.
We should do that.
Okay.
You could do it.
I'm going to listen. I can. See, you're like, you can do it, girl. I'm really expanding right now. Oh my gosh, I think it's just because in my mind, it's like, just like, I'm shy, even though I'm not, but like, I kind of am. I have social anxiety, even though I like can just sit here on the TV with the red light and just like, blah, blah, blah. But to get around a lot of people, I get nervous and then I'm fine. I don't know. So I just need to just like make it like a really new way of thinking about it. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I've got one last just fun end of show question. Okay. And I want you to take it seriously. All right. So I want you to try to come up with a real answer, because I have a real answer. So how many times in your life have you said the word argan?
It's really interesting. Let me think. have to do some quick math if I say it. 10 to 50 times a day because of an average. So maybe 20 times a day times 300 is 2, 37, 800. 20 times, hold on, 17, 20, 70,000. 7,000?
7,000. So if you do it 20 times a day, that'd be 7,000 a year.
7,000 something a year.
Times 14 years. So you're looking at 90,000 times. No. 98,000.
Doesn't even feel enough, but sure, about 98,000.
Well, I was going to say I went with 10 times a day. So I was going to be close to 50,000.
All right, so I doubled you. It's serious, man. There's a serious organ love around here. It is. This literally, I can't wait. Someday soon I'm going to tell you about the crazy magic and life-changing things that have happened with this for other people, not me. Well, let them tell you the stories. I won't be telling you. Because I got lots of friends now that want to tell the story.
Oh my God.
Cool. So 100,000, about 98,000 times I've said, God damn it, 98,001. I love you, Argon. Mwah.
Oh man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, and I had a lot of fun today, and I know people are going to learn a lot. And it was great. Thanks for coming on, Josie.
Cool, yeah. Thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait to keep playing with you.
I know. Hopefully I'll be your third friend. So you got 2 friends. Okay. I can be your third, and then we can work on the podcast, and you'll have, 20 friends by the end of the year.
And we'll have 20? Okay. And then we'll have hopefully people, I'm 20. But people that the cool thing about that podcast is that you get to meet a ton of cool, random, not random, but people that you wouldn't have. Anyways, we're going to do that. Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Bye, Josie.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Hit subscribe now. Earned by Tribe Dynamics. Tribe Dynamics unlocks your social media influencer community. Our platform not only tracks and measures your best influencer relationships, but discovers new influencers to grow your business through earned media. Get started with a demo today at tribedynamics.com. tribedynamics.com.